Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. Now find yourself a seat at their table.
Hello, and welcome to this week's episode of the Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast with PJ and Mike. I'm PJ.
And I'm Mike.
And we are back with another superhero movie review. This time it is the latest installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, The Fantastic Four: First Steps, which was released last, I guess, Thursday technically is the preview night, and then Friday. Directed by Matt Shakman. I don't know how to pronounce that guy's name.
Matt Shakman, yep. And just for people at home, just to give you what he's best known for, he did the WandaVision. He also directed episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, Fargo, Game of Thrones. He has a pretty impressive resume of shows he directed.
Yeah.
It's he's
TV
legit.
Shows, not a lot of movies, but a lot of TV shows, but not like sitcoms, like high-end cinematic quality TV shows. So he certainly wasn't someone that wasn't up to the task to direct a big budget superhero movie. And I think, generally speaking, the film looked pretty good. So I mean, the way he directed
looked great.
The shots that he used, I think he did a great job with that. All right, so let's just, before we get to the plot summary, right off the bat,
we're just
like it, love it,
Yep, we're giving PJ and I ourselves like about a minute, or just anything under a minute, 90 seconds. So I wrote down a little blurb for myself. I'm actually gonna give a rating too. Is that okay, PJ?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So I said, guys, I really liked it. I thought it was really good acting all around. It's a good story that has stakes. It feels big. It has the tone that I've been waiting for a while now. Back to that early 2000s comic books where like X-Men, Blade, Spider-Man, even the Dark Knight trilogy, where it felt like an action movie with some comedy, where I feel like comic book movies for years now, they're all comedies with action thrown in. So I'd like the kind of reverse for that. It's under 2 hours, feels tight. I'll get into that too, because I think there's been a lot of cutting in this.
A lot of cutting, yeah.
Because if you see the trailer, there's some characters or actors who are not in it. And for me, it was really refreshing for it to not be part of the MCU, even though I know it is going to be a part of the Doomsday, blah, blah, blah. But it felt nice to kind of just start with a clean slate. Yeah, I definitely recommend seeing it in theaters. I gave it a solid 8 out of 10.
All right. I liked it well enough. I didn't love it. I liked it. I thought the acting was fine. Pedro Pascal was Pedro Pascal in this movie. I don't think he added anything to Reed Richards that we've never seen before. I don't know that he was great in the role, but he certainly was not bad. He's everywhere, and I tend to just hate seeing his face on the screen because we see him so much, but he didn't bother me. He did a well enough job. I think acting-wise, the star for this movie for me was Vanessa Kirby.
Oh, yeah.
Sue Storm. I thought she was really, really great in the role. I'll get into, as we're talking about the movie, more about the characters and stuff like that. I felt for the tone of the movie, knowing that the Fantastic Four is supposed to be about fun adventures with this family, and they're always kind of laughing and smiling in the books. I would have preferred more of that in this movie because that's what I want my Fantastic Four to be. I will get into a little bit more about how I felt about the villain and everything as we're reviewing the movie. But again, I would certainly recommend seeing it. I think it was a well-executed movie. I agree that I like that it wasn't bogged down by 20 plus years of MCU madness.
Yes.
And you can just watch this and not worry about it. Overall, I gave it a 7 out of 10. So we're not too far off really, but I definitely recommend seeing it.
Yeah, just to give people, this is a spoiler. It's a spoiler review. I'm sure the people who are listening already seen the movie, but just to kind of give it a refresher of what the plot is. I'm not going to go too far. I'm not going to do scene by scene the whole, just to give you the setup and this whole shebang. Basically, it starts off with Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm find out they're going to have a baby, and then we get a message from Silver Surfer, which I liked. I'll get more into the pros and cons. What's her name? Shia LaBeouf. What's Shia LaBeouf? Okay, Shia LaBeouf. Okay, so anyway, she comes.
Shall be known as Shia LaBeouf.
Yes. Anyway, she comes down to Earth saying that your planet's marked for death. Galactus is coming, and at that point, the Fantastic Four goes out via spaceship to find Galactus to kind of negotiate or even beat him up. And Galactus basically says, I'll cut a deal with you. You give me your baby, and I'll spare your planet. Which I love the whole moral dilemma thing. I really like that. And basically, they come back to Earth. They kind of spoil the news, like, this is our situation here. We either give our son away to save planet Earth or not. We had to find an alternative. And then, as we know, folks, the rest of the movie happens, and we'll get into that. So for pros, PJ, I just want to piggyback some of the things you said. I agree with the acting was really great. I forgot the actor, the guy who plays the Torch, the Human Torch. He's
He
Eddie
was
Munson.
he,
He was
yeah,
Eddie
Eddie
Munson
Munson
from
from Stranger
Stranger
Things.
Things. I didn't realize that. I was like, holy crap.
I think he's one of the biggest pros for the movie because I really love that they didn't make him just an idiot in this
Yes, I
movie.
agree.
They let him help. Usually he's the comic relief, and I do think he could have been more comic relief, but I do like that he wasn't just like a piece of furniture, like he
Yep.
got to do something in this movie. He got to contribute to winning. I thought that was great.
Yeah, I think just to piggyback with some of the things you said too, PJ. So with Pedro Pascal, so folks at home, I agree with PJ. And look, he's a great actor. He doesn't ruin the movie. He's just fine. I just still feel it's a miscasting, and I
I
really
agree.
can't put my finger on it. And the best example I could put here was, let's say they had to recast Wolverine. They're gonna eventually. They're gonna recast Wolverine, and let's say they want to do another Logan. And let's say you got Daniel Day-Lewis. He's an amazing actor, but I'm not sure if he's the
Right.
right person you would cast to do that film. As much as an amazing actor Daniel Day-Lewis is, or Gary Oldman, let's say, or whoever. Um, I'm not sure that's the right casting. I still feel, and also like you said too, I think we're seeing so much of him that I'm actually not almost believing his acting because I'm seeing him so much.
I agree.
I'm just seeing Pedro Pascal. It's messing me up. So didn't ruin the film. He does a great job. Not everything's like that, but I still find it miscasting at the end of the
Yeah,
day. I still wouldn't.
I
He
agree
wouldn't be.
with that. And I think
Mhm.
you're right. I think it is because we're seeing him everywhere. I'm like, this guy is just constantly doing another role that's in your face. You can't help but see him. And now, whenever he's on the screen, he's not Reed Richards. He's just Pedro Pascal interacting with the Fantastic Four. I also don't know that he's fine in the movie. Like you said, he's
Yeah.
not bad by any stretch. I don't know that he gives off the vibe of super smart scientist. You know what I mean? Like he's almost, I don't know if they played that down on purpose to make him feel more relatable. I don't know what it is, but you kind of want someone in this role that's playing it as he's just so much smarter than everyone else, but doesn't realize it. So in the course of his conversation with other people, everyone is just left in the dust. That's that character, right? He
Yeah.
doesn't realize how smart he is because he's just that smart. And I don't get the impression that Pedro Pascal tried to put that energy or that tone into this character. He just played him like a regular old dude, not the
Yeah.
smartest man on the planet.
Yeah, and like I said, there's not many for me. There's not many negatives of the film, but I think, like I said, something's off with him. I'm not sure if it's the writing or things got cut because there's definitely things
Could
a lot.
be.
Because he didn't really because I always like Mr. Fantastic. He's actually my favorite character of like his powers I always loved.
Right.
I almost find him in this movie for someone who's so bright could also be very dumb.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
That's
even
what I'm
just
saying,
socially,
yeah.
like almost socially like off. And I always felt Reed Richards was kind of like on the hip at the same time. Like when they first come back to Earth, and him just kind of blurting, "Oh yeah, this is what the
Right.
Galactus offered." I feel like he would be like,
He wouldn't do that.
yeah, right away. I understand maybe in terms of pacing they had to do that, but I feel like that could have been
But
another
you feel
moral
like he
dilemma
would
that
be smarter than to say that to the
yes,
entire Earth at
yeah,
that moment. The smartest man on the planet would know that this isn't going to be a well-received comment. Let's not say this right now.
yes,
Let's just say we're going to figure it out and move on. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. There were certain things about the way he portrayed it, and it could have been the writer and not him. I'm not
yes,
blaming him
yeah.
fully for that, but there were parts to this character that felt not like Reed Richards.
Yep. I think for the things that I enjoyed is I love the whole moral dilemma. I'm a sucker for that. Any kind of story that has a moral dilemma. Obviously
Mhm.
you're gonna give up the bit. Save one life to save a million. They do that in Watchmen, and there's a lot of movies like
Yep.
that. And I enjoyed that. Did you enjoy that part? I like that. I like
I felt
I like that. I think it was
yes
cool.
and no.
It was
I
different.
think yes and no. I'm fine with it in the movie. It makes sense. It is something that happened in the books and everything. It makes perfect sense. It's a great dilemma. I do not think this movie did a very good job of explaining why Galactus wants the baby.
Well, that's
So yeah.
comes with the cutting room floor.
Yes.
'Cause
And I think that
there's-
hurts that plot because the moral dilemma, it's just like the moral dilemma is huge for them. They don't want to give up their
Yeah.
baby. They don't want to lose the earth. All of that's great and all of that works. But you sit there and you're like, but why? Why is that? I know why, because I've read 17
Yeah.
billion Fantastic Four comic books. But the regular moviegoer doesn't know why, and I feel like it hurts the story to not explain that.
Yes, and that was I wrote that as a note because even like in like you know more like in this department, like even the baby's powers. Okay, like I said, everyone's seen this film. I'm assuming who are listening, but she saves he saves his mom's life. She's basically dead, and he
Right.
like revives her. I'm like, in my
Right.
head, I'm like, does this baby have like healing powers? Does it have? I know he's very bright. Then the other part of me is like, is this the Harry Potter thing where like love can save a
Right.
life?
So Franklin Richards is one of the top 5 most powerful characters in Marvel Comics. He has the power cosmic, and he's essentially a mutant. But his biggest thing is he has reality altering powers. Whatever he wants to happen can happen. So the idea in the comic books, and this is from the comic books where Galactus
Yeah.
wants the baby, is twofold. One, he solves the hunger problem that Galactus has because Franklin Richards can create planets. So he's a devourer of worlds. Franklin just keeps creating the worlds. Galactus keeps eating them. The hunger is solved. And the other thing is because Franklin can warp reality to any way he wants, Franklin doesn't die because if he doesn't want to, he just doesn't. And so he's the only person that can be around long enough with Galactus to take over for Galactus as the devourer of worlds when Galactus is eventually gone. The power that Galactus has, the stuff that Galactus does, can be transferred to Franklin because Franklin will live forever to continue that planet eating. So they don't explain
But
this.
the planet eating, was that some kind of like what they call like structural functionalism? Because each planet it helps like
right. Yes.
the circle of life kind of thing.
Exactly,
Okay,
right. And
okay.
that's kind of that's his role on a cosmic level, and that continues to need to happen if Galactus is ever gone. But who
Right.
can replace Galactus? It has to be someone equally as powerful. The only person powerful enough is Franklin. They explain zero of that in the movie. I asked my wife, I asked a couple of other friends that I have that watch the movie but don't read the
Yep.
comics, if they understood the reason why Galactus wanted
Yeah,
the
they
baby,
left
and they
it
all
out.
basically said that really they don't say it. I thought it was just a thing,
I assumed because like I didn't read the comics. I just know at base level
right.
what it is. I knew about he had a baby, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I just felt I'm like, well, I just in my mind, well, obviously he's gonna have some kind of mutant power, right? Because they
Right.
said initially Reed Richards was like, he's normal, he's normal. I just felt maybe he had the basically the ability to like kind of has the ability to take on that kind of power, to have that cosmic
Right.
power, to eat worlds, just
Right.
that he could take on that entity, And
Mhm.
is he suffering? Is like because I was like, is Galactus suffering? And like he's like, oh, eating planets is exhausting. I just want to take a
Yeah,
vacation.
he's always kind of like,
I'm
I have to
just
travel the entire cosmos constantly and devour these
just
planets,
tired,
destroy
right?
these. Right. And it's just like energy sucking and all this other stuff. And they don't really even say that in the movie. And it could be a result of the cutting room floor. I don't know. But that's why I scored it a 7. A lot of this was like, there needs to be context in the movie somewhere for all of this. And yes, Superman, just because it's the last superhero movie that came out, overdid it in some aspects where they just told you everything over and over. And that I understand why people feel that might be a drag. In this movie, I feel like has the exact opposite problem where it's like, give me something, right?
Yeah.
You have to explain why they want this baby. I thought they didn't do a great job with that. That was my biggest negative.
Yeah, that's what hurts. Like I said, there's not many negatives, but that's
right. And unfortunately,
and
that's such a big one.
When I watch movies, I don't want people to think. I think I said this in our previous episode. I don't go there to kind of bash a film or critique it. I'm just watching it just to enjoy it. But after I saw the film, I said the same thing myself. Well, that was probably cut. And then I rewatched. I saw someone. I think it was Jeremy Johns. He has a great interview too, and he said or review. He talked about He goes Malkovich. John Malkovich is actually in this film. He's in the trailer. He's like long white hair.
Oh, yeah. He is supposed to be in it.
So
You're right.
he's not in it. So
yeah.
So in my I have no clue. So in my mind, PJ, you would know. Like, does Galactus have some kind of tragic background where he was a regular dude and like he looked like Zeus?
He was like a regularish guy, and he becomes the Galactus. Yeah.
So maybe that's what it was. Maybe
I
that's
don't know
and
maybe it was supposed to be.
Maybe someone in editing was like, look, let's just or maybe those scenes just weren't working.
I
don't know what else to say.
Was maybe going to be Red Ghost. I don't remember if he was going to be Red Ghost. Yeah, I think that's who he was going to be. Another Fantastic Four villain who they mentioned briefly in the very beginning of the movie. There's like that montage where they're about to get interviewed on TV, and they kind of do that origin, and they mention fighting the Red Ghost. that's who John Malkovich was going to be, the Red
Okay.
Ghost. And they wiped it completely from the movie. And, time, sure, you don't want them, but it's not even 2 hours. So you could have had 5 to 10 more minutes in this movie, at least, without it feeling overly long. And you maybe could have gotten a little more
Yeah.
out of the story, I think.
Yeah. And the other part that I just, in terms of just story wise, that I thought was kind of like a missed opportunity with a Silver Surfer. You find out basically she sacrificed herself to save her planet,
They
and
basically
I guess,
gave her Norrin Rad's origin. They
yeah,
gave her
yeah,
the,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I guess the part that I wanted, but why did you pick Earth then? Like we have 9 other planets, 8 other planets in our solar system. Like why did you pick Earth? Why you didn't pick Mars,
Right.
Jupiter? And I guess I couldn't for me. Hear me trying to rewrite the film, but you could have just had a moment and just you know to do a big giant backstory. Could have just been like resentment, like I
Right.
don't want other people to
Because,
be happy. I can't if other people can't have. I'm like she's that bitter about it. Like that,
well, yeah.
I would have accepted that. That would have been
So the
fine
Herald
too.
of Galactus's job is to find the planets for Galactus to devour.
Yes, yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
she's out there looking for planets. Why did you pick this one? Would have been nice to have in the film. Instead of just relying on the audience to say, they picked this one because otherwise we don't have a movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
and I
Yeah,
think that could have been a good. I think you could have
I
just done it with
agree.
one line. That would have been fine. The Human Torch basically figures out it confronts her. She could have
Right.
just said like I'm bitter, man. I'm jealous. Anything. That's a very great motivation
Yeah.
for most people, right? Is bitterness, right? And
Yeah.
it could have worked.
The
And then
other thing
obviously
that,
she can see Miss Fantastic, Sue Storm having a baby, and then she,
right.
reevaluates herself, blah blah blah, and then that, even for a second, that could have been done
Right.
within. That could have
And,
just
they
shown
can
it
put some
visually.
bullshit in there. They were drawn to that planet because they felt the cosmic energy from the Fantastic Four.
Yes.
There's all sorts of science-y comic book
Yeah.
bullshit you can throw in there.
Yeah.
Another miss for this movie for me was I thought Ben Grimm was great. I thought the actor was great. I thought he looked great. I thought they could have given him more to do.
Yeah.
And the thing they gave him to do is he meets that teacher, right? There's
And
that scene. They're
yeah.
on Yancey Street, and Yancey Street looks great. And he's like showing off for the kids, making the kids laugh. And it's a great scene. And then he starts to like flirt with this teacher. I have 2 issues here. One is very small, and one is about the plot of the movie. In the comic books, Ben Grimm does eventually date and wind up long term with a teacher. Her name is Alicia Masters. Why we didn't just make this character Alicia Masters is beyond me. They named her after Jack Kirby's wife as like an homage to Jack Kirby, which is nice. But if you're going to make more of these movies, you could have had this as a reoccurring character. But whatever. That's
Yeah.
either here or there. As a comic book nerd, I would have preferred it. But whatever. That's not a big deal, right? What is a big deal to me is we see this character, this teacher, for 3 seconds, right? You barely get to know why he's there. It almost feels like they happen upon each other by chance. They talk for a minute and they're gone. Now the world's about to get devoured by Galactus. And the one place that Ben Grimm needs to be is with this teacher that we don't even know her real.
All right.
I'm like, this is where you thought it would be appropriate for the most powerful member on that team, arguably the strongest anyway.
All right.
Before anything, I have to go talk to this girl that the audience has no connection to, that the character has no connection to. And again, it felt like to me there was more with her that got cut. And it makes the
Yeah.
movie feel disjointed.
Yeah. For me, I wouldn't use for me to describe what it said disjointed. It just feels like okay, some things were just edited out. They wanted the cleanest, tightest story, which I think there's all. What I'm assuming is, I think they were panicking. We can't have another Fantastic Four stinker. We can't do it. Basically,
Yep.
this movie is a very solid, safe movie. It is. Which is
It's
for me,
also-
it's fine. Which is they did a good job overall.
Fortunately for Fantastic Four, and it's not a negative really on the movie. I think it's just bad timing. Has a very similar plot structure to the Superman movie, to the point where for me it felt a little bit like a rerun. I'm like, I see where this is going, and the reason I say that is the plot of Superman. I'm going to do it real quick. I'm not going to go through the whole movie, but I'll just kind of compare them side by side. New Superman only been around for 3 years, hasn't lost yet. Fantastic Four has only been around for 4 years.
4
They
years.
give you that montage that basically says the world loves them because they haven't lost yet. Now they're a shiny gold person shows up in Metropolis, gives Superman his first victory. A shiny silver person shows up in Fantastic Four, gives the Fantastic Four their first loss.
Mhm.
Then you have, all right, the Superman has the public turn against him because of the leak of Jor-El's message. Now you have the public turn against the Fantastic Four because of
Of the
the baby. Then you have a scene where Superman has to save a baby, of baby Joey. Now we have a scene where the Fantastic Four are saving a baby Franklin. Then we have a CGI cute sidekick in the dog. We have a CGI cute sidekick in a robot. And the plot points are very, very similar. The tone is completely different. The story is obviously different, but the plot points are so similar that as I'm watching the movie, I'm like, I mean, it's just timing. It's not done on purpose, but it felt like to me, it's like when they were writing the Fantastic Four movie, were they looking at James Gunn's paper? Because it's the same plot points, just told a little bit different. And I do think that hurts the movie unfairly, but I think it does.
Yeah, that's valid. I think some of these things are kind of common in writing. I think Fantastic Four, I did enjoy the ending more, because I'm so sick and tired of the big blue light at the end has to get exploded or the world's gonna crack in half. That's in every movie. At least with this, I'm a great sucker for a big showdown at the end. I love Predator, that final battle, Neo versus Agent Smith, the final battle, Tung Po versus Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'm always down for a final battle.
I do love a final battle, and I think Galactus coming onto Earth looked fantastic.
Yeah,
he's fantastic, but it looked fantastic.
Yeah,
I didn't really like how the battle ended at all, though.
What?
I thought that was weak sauce because
with her basically doing telekinesis kind of thing,
the invisible push. Yeah, because the reason I don't like that, one, he's supposed to be the most powerful person in the cosmos.
Yeah,
and the only thing in the comic books that even scares Galactus, and I know it can't be exactly the comic book, but just for reference, is an ultimate nullifier, which is the only thing because it can erase him from existence, right? It's the only thing that can. And I understand you may not go that route in a movie, that's fine. But this is a relatively new team of Fantastic Four superheroes that have never faced a threat this big, the biggest threat in the galaxy, in the cosmos. And then we know it's a different multiverse, right? It's a different universe. But we had a team of experienced an army of Avengers that had decades of experience being an Avenger, lost to Thanos once, and then almost lost to Thanos twice.
Yeah.
And he's not nearly as powerful as Galactus. So an invisible push into a portal is what beats Galactus. It felt too small for that character.
No, I agree. You kind of wish all the characters would at least as a team
something.
Because I think what's her name again? Shia LaBeouf, Silver. She comes in and she does like a. And she punches him in the face. Yeah. So that's like the other 1-2 punch right there. I agree. Yeah. I still enjoyed it. I was kind of hoping. Well, I'm kind of almost frustrated myself because I talk about some of the negatives of the film because there's a lot of great things, but
there are.
I feel like Mr. Fantastic didn't do any fantastic things. I really wanted him to stretch more.
Empire Strikes Back, and he was going to wrap up his feet, get all stretchy.
Yes.
Wrap up his feet and then have the other ones try and trip him into the thing. Something where they work as a team to beat this guy.
Yeah.
The only real time we see Mr. Fantastic stretch is when Galactus is pulling him apart like a rubber band.
I thought maybe they thought it was going to be silly, but remember he's after he stretches him, he lets him go. I thought he was going to turn into a parachute or a paper plane.
Something.
I thought that would have been if he crashes in, Dan does a crash landing, but he's still a plane. Something it would have been big. And I know this movie, like I say, play a little bit more straight. There's not many action sequences in this film. You don't really see
really not.
Because even with the Thing, like I said, he's out of all the characters, he really gets the short end of the stick.
He really does. It's such a shame he's the most popular one usually.
No, it really bothered me about the Thing. The acting was fine. His voice was fine. No, it was they said, to shave, and said, you look good.
Angle grinder?
Yeah. I like that. But then the rest of the film, he has that beard. And to tell you the truth, I didn't like the beard. Whether it's in the comic books or not, I don't care.
It isn't.
Visually, I feel like you couldn't see his mouth move anymore. I feel like it got hidden. And for a CGI character, I'm like, look, you got the joke in with the no.
Yeah, and you could have had the beard for a little while, but by the time we get to that final fight,
he's got to be clean shit. You want to see him, because when he has that big line at the end, clobbering time, I feel like I couldn't even see his mouth. It just looked like
I thought he looked cool with the beard, but I do agree also. Or it's for that final battle, let's have him in
full mode,
looking like
I agree.
It
was too distracting. Not even distracted. I can't see his mouth. It's a fake character. It's CG. You got to make sure you can see his face.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That was not
because he
good.
did look great the whole movie.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I do want to talk about some of the positives because
of course
the movie's not fair to beat up because it really is a good movie and worth watching. I loved what they did with Johnny Storm. Like we said earlier, how he gets to show that he has a brain and he gets to be part of how they win. I thought that was great. I thought Shia LaBeouf was great.
Yes.
I love the scene you mentioned before where she's like, I herald his beginning,
Yeah.
I herald your end, I herald galactic, and the voice they gave her, that metallic kind of,
Yes.
I thought that was great. I love the interactions with her and Johnny Storm. The Thing and Johnny Storm being the best uncles to that baby
Yep.
was very endearing. It shows this really is a family and not just a superhero team. I
Yep.
thought they did a good job with that. Vanessa Kirby, I think she really played Sue Storm well. But I don't want to shit on the movie too much because there's so many things worth watching in it.
Yeah.
Galactus, the scale of Galactus.
Oh yeah.
Would I have liked him to be a brighter purple and a brighter blue and glow a little bit more? Sure, but I understand to make it look menacing for the movie
Yes.
and make it fit into that more realistic tone.
Yep.
The way he looked was perfect. The scale was perfect. So many good things to appreciate. And so it's really not fair to just talk about the negatives because there's a lot of good stuff here.
Oh yeah, I agree. No, totally. I'm a big fan of the tone of the film. Like I said, I like that they played it straight. It felt refreshing. It wasn't completely bogged down by joke after joke. I mean, there's some in there. There's a lot of good humor in it, but it was, for me, it was done tastefully. It didn't go like eye rolling. And like I said, this movie's not a comedy like the past dozen, comic book films. Yeah, Galactus, man. Like I said, I love when when they actually go to him, and they go to his headquarters and he's just there and he kind of like almost like he took his headphones at one point, like, oh, we got visitors, and but he's just so big, and it felt really nice to have like a villain finally who's like willing, kind of like Thanos, so it's like, look, I'm willing to kick someone's ass, and he didn't feel like villain of the week kind of. He's gonna come back to. I feel he's gonna come back to some extent, and
I hope that they do that, but I think it all depends on what happens in this next Avengers movie because if the Fantastic Four stay in the normal MCU multiverse and not the one they came from, because it is a different Earth, do we wind up seeing him again, or is this become a one-off? It'd be interesting to see what they do. I do hope they bring him back. More powerful. I feel like Galactus is a big enough, powerful enough villain to be what brings everyone together.
Yeah.
And so I do hope we get some of that.
I think another part of the, like I said, there's not many action sequences. There's only really maybe three technically.
2.5? Yeah.
Yeah, 2.5. That's probably more fair.
Yeah.
The whole space sequence when them getting that, they're booking it, basically escaping, and that was really thrilling. That was really good. Just science fiction. That was just really good science fiction action. They're basically getting the Millennium Falcon and Sue Storm's giving birth, but it was good. It was good. Like I said, really good, very good, solid movie. These are not even, like I said, it's sometimes a movie that's good, you have less to say. But really good. The only thing a few things I just want to talk about. Like I said, this has nothing to really do with the movie itself. It didn't take me away. But I feel for this movie, it's going to sound weird in terms of a missed opportunity, is actually opening credits, I think, would help this film. Nice opening credits. And the best way I could, because it just starts off with the Marvel logo and it goes straight into them.
Straight into them really talking about having the baby.
Yeah, that was it. And it was kind of somewhat lackluster. And the best example I could give is Batman 89. You play the theme song, the Batman logo, and even that starts off slow too. If you remember the couples walking through the thing, like, yo, give me a doll, give me a doll, I'll give you a doll, that guy. And then they end up mugging them. But for this, you could have had something just at that theme song, with some kind of logo.
Theme song's great, by the way.
Yeah, and then you could have cut to that, because I think it could have kind of amped, because just to start with that logo and go to that, I felt wasn't a really good way to start the film, because it felt, because when I saw it in the theater, I actually went by myself, but the crowd itself, I think everyone was almost kind of startled. Everyone was still kind of sitting. Everyone was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like it kind of started off with a little bit of a whimper. I think you could have had a good opening. It didn't have to be so long like the 89 one, but even 2 minutes tops, minute 30 seconds of just
the other thing they could have done was maybe the order of the scenes. Maybe it would have started off with that talk show host guy.
Yes, that could have helped.
Doing that speech and then showing that montage, kind of introducing each character and their powers or whatever. And then from there cutting to the they come back from that interview with that guy, and now they're in their home and now they're having this conversation. Also could have worked to just jump into a really slow moving kind of conversation. You're like, where are we? I agree. I didn't know if that was the best opening, but I think they did that again because they want to show that Fantastic Four is family first. Like it's the first family of Marvel, and
Yeah.
so I get it. I mean, I get the choice. I don't know that I agree with the choice, but I guess I get why they did it. You know what I really loved about this was the Jack Kirby, Stan Lee in the bullpen in the comic book studio, looking out the window and seeing their creations.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah.
that was. I mean, obviously it's not played by them because they're both,
Yeah.
long gone, unfortunately. But the homage to them, I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah. Oh,
This
that was
movie
good.
does a lot to pay its respects to Jack Kirby.
Yes.
Everyone always talks about how great Stan Lee is. And look, Stan Lee is a huge part of the comic book industry and why it is what it is. Jack Kirby is maybe the most important figure in comic book history that doesn't get his due. And I love that they gave him his flowers in this.
Yes, no, totally agree. Just to kind of wrap up before we talk about our next thing in terms of about box office.
Yeah.
Some just final comments about the movie and just other things and just in general about the movies in a sense. I know you're not a big fan of him, PJ, but you cannot. He's probably the most influential of the new millenniums of filmmakers, Christopher Nolan. I mean,
Uh-huh.
like between Inception, Dark Knight, but just different universes and just like
Yep.
in this movie, in that whole space scene when they're flying, that's interstellar right there with the black hole. It's unbelievable his impact on filmmaking. Like nowadays, it's really everywhere. It's cool, but it's amazing how much he's had an impact on all. Because even he, like I said this before at past interviews, he didn't start putting the title of a movie at the end. He didn't start that.
Uh-huh.
Other guys have done that, but he
Yeah.
kind of made it popular. And now I think it's been overdone. Even with the from Inception, people have raped that. Even
Yeah.
Hans Zimmer, that's when they made Interstellar. They says we're putting the whole brass section away, and they just stuck with organs, pianos and such,
Uh-huh.
and synthesizers. But yeah, you wouldn't have Doctor Strange, even the visuals for that are from Inception. It's amazing his impact on that stuff. But yeah, folks at home, I would definitely recommend Fantastic Four. For me,
It's definitely worth seeing on a big screen.
definitely see worth on a big screen.
For
You're
the
gonna
scale
enjoy
of Galactus alone, it's worth
something like a build up into that. Like you're looking for that final round. That's my favorite thing in movies, especially action films, where you're waiting for that final battle, that boss battle. I should really say that's the fun. That was like, all right, here we go, and they're setting up basically their trap for him and everything. That it felt good. It felt good to see that. I feel like we haven't had that in a long time.
I had another issue I had with that though was like there really is no reason other than the fact that they needed that. So the Silver Surfer can destroy every single one of these,
yes.
but the
He was
one in
one that
Manhattan, like that's the one. Like you look at that and you're like, there was what? Like it felt like a plot hole. Like it was very convenient that they left that one trap there.
yeah.
I get it. They need to have an ending to the movie. Like I get there needs to be an ending, but when you're in the midst of the movie, like things like that really just stick out to me. I'm like, there was no better way to at least show me something as to why this one doesn't get destroyed. Like Galactus is smart enough to see what's going on with the baby swap and all those shenanigans, but he's not smart enough to realize maybe I should just use my giant building sized hand to just that thing away first. Like you know what's happening. And it's just like moments like that, or where to me where it's like it feels disjointed and a little bit like
because
what are we doing? Do better.
Right. Or I just thought like you could have had them rebuilt the thing in New York, right? And her using like her invisibility crap. Maybe she can make shit invisible.
So he doesn't see it happening or something.
Yeah, they could have just
right.
Hey,
They
these things could have been on the floor. I'm sure there's
Who knows?
the extended cut somewhere. But like I said,
this movie definitely had a lot of cuts, and I felt the cuts.
Mhm.
Not as much as I felt them in Captain America: Brave New World.
yeah,
Because you felt those cuts, and you're like, you needed those cuts back for the movie to make sense. It's not as bad as that, but you do feel the cuts.
Correct. But yeah, definitely recommend, folks. I think it's impossible not to compare it to Superman. I'm just gonna say, for me, I enjoy this a lot more than Superman. I would still recommend both see them in theaters, no question. But I like Fantastic Four better.
It does seem like, as we segue into our next section of this, that the audience who votes with their wallet did not vote for Fantastic Four. And it's an interesting, I don't know 100% why. I'm going to read something that from Variety. We're recording this on August 2nd.
August 3rd. Yep, August 3rd.
This article was published by Variety on August 2nd. And what they wrote here, Fantastic Four grossed $11.7 million domestically in its second Friday on the big screen, marking a devastating 80% drop from its debut. With that disappointing result, the film will most likely fall short of its initial weekend 2 estimates of 45 to 52 million. Its domestic grand total currently sits at 129.7 million, and could reach as high as 170 million by the end of the weekend. Marvel shelled out more than 200 million to produce Fantastic Four. The comic book template, headlined by Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Eben Moss-Bachrach, and Joseph Quinn, was shaping up to be the MCU's first post-pandemic success at bringing a new super team to cinemas after missing the mark with Thunderbolts in May, The Marvels in 2023, and Eternals in 2021. However, the film appears to be having trouble expanding past comic book fans, even after a solid 118 million. I had heard that with the marketing budget for this movie, the whole budget was around 300 million. They don't really ever tell you marketing numbers, so
Yeah.
who knows for sure if that's accurate. But between 200 and 300 million is where probably somewhere where this total cost is. And by the end of its second weekend, it hasn't broken even yet, is what that essentially saying.
Right. I'm curious. What anything about Superman? Because I was trying to find an
Yeah.
article too. Because the only thing I saw is that according to this, the Geek League of America said that it's not Superman is not going to make 1 billion. It might not even make 700 million. And they just talk about how
Yeah.
comic book
So,
retailers have seen an increase, but the movie itself is
yes.
not gonna make 1 billion or even
Yeah.
700 million.
So for what I understand for Superman, the budget for the movie was around 225 million, and they supposedly put in about the same in the marketing budget, roughly, which makes sense because you couldn't fucking walk down the block without seeing an ad for Superman. So it makes sense that it would have a higher marketing budget. So I think they said all in was just under 500 million to make that movie, and worldwide it has earned 534 million. Domestically, it got 306 million. So it made back its production budget plus domestically, and the international budget basically covered the rest and pushed them into profiting. It is the highest grossing Superman movie for opening weekend, not altogether because that's Man of Steel. Man of Steel made about 670 million. This movie, worldwide, it made 670. Man of Steel, I think, is the numbers. Where worldwide, we're at right now 534. Warner Brothers is touting it as a financial success for them. They have greenlit Superman 2, which is being written by James Gunn already. They've already announced Supergirl, Green Lanterns as the TV show, and a couple other things. But in terms of just box office, comparison, for Superman to be out only an extra, week or two, and to be at 534 million worldwide, and for the Fantastic Four to only be at 269 worldwide, I don't think it's going to make it to the Superman numbers. Unless they leave it in the theaters much longer than Superman's going to be in theaters. And it's interesting as to why, and because I don't really have an answer for why. I have theories.
I think with that first article you read it's only big for comic book fans, and I think movies like, whether you like them or not, the Dark Knight trilogy, that whole MCU run, everyone went to see those, everyone.
Right.
And now after Endgame ended, once the Dark Knight trilogy ended, I mean, this might be, I even say, I guess the recent DCU universe,
Yeah.
I'll give it that, even though it's mad weak. I think the average person, us guys like us, we're still gonna go because we enjoy this shit. But I think for the average person, I think it's over. I think that tide they're not gonna get those numbers anymore.
It's going the way of the Western.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because it's,
and certain characters,
no matter how good they are, I think.
Right.
And you got to remember too, another movie that kind of sucked. I think it kind of sucked the life out of comic book movies is actually Joker 2. I think that really that gave people, because everyone liked it. Everyone, comic book fans, they all liked it. And that second
the first one and the second one was awful.
Oh, and I think made people. I think they went like.
Yeah, that didn't help, and the Marvels didn't help. There's been a lot of bad ones, and a character like you said, the Dark Knight trilogy, love him or hate him, that's Batman. Batman is bigger than a comic book movie. Superman, bigger than a comic book movie. Fantastic Four is a comic book movie. So I mean, I get it, but for Marvel to be putting a lot of eggs in this fantastic basket, and then for it to fall this short, I mean, is it superhero fatigue? I mean, word of mouth for the movie is relatively positive, I think, for Fantastic Four. But to have an 80% drop off like that?
I think, PJ, I think it is. I think it's, for me, I'm fatigued. I'm truly fatigued. Burnt out. Even fans. I think I said this once, I said it before. You got to celebrate your films. There's nothing wrong with that. Celebrating the Lord of the Rings films is a great example. Celebrating the Harry Potter films. Those films are on that legendary status. You could say which some films better than others in those trilogies or that amount of films, 8 films, but they're celebrated. when you keep putting out, when you're not really celebrating it anymore, it starts to dilute it, and now
Right.
it's like, oh, get this over. Kind of like Star Wars, that's a great example how they diluted it and ruined it. There's nothing sacred about it.
Right.
What made Star Wars really special was that it wasn't a comic book. It felt like its own entity.
Right.
Now it just feels
And
another.
now it's just another franchise like anything
Yeah.
else. I mean, as much as Jon Favreau wants to try and save it, I don't know that he'll get it
Mm,
back to where it was.
no way.
But but even with that, I mean, even knowing all of that, I truly feel like maybe the comic book movie is not as popular as it was. These may not be billion-dollar movies anymore. They may not be. And
Yeah.
that's fine. But this is still the last big summer blockbuster movie for the season. Whether it's comic book fatigue or not, there's no other big blockbuster coming out this year. And to have no one going to see it, or I mean, not no one. I mean,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
$269 million worldwide isn't a small number, but to not have it have bigger numbers than that, is it just people not going to the theaters? Is it more than comic book fatigue? I wonder, because I truly don't think that. I mean, it's second Friday in the theaters. It was 57 million on the first Friday in theaters. The second Friday in theaters, it's down to 11 million.
Yeah.
That's like third week numbers for
Yeah.
some movies,
I think
and it's just, to me, it's crazy. I was looking at the Superman numbers, and the only reason we're comparing it to Superman is because it came out 2 weeks ago. If a different movie came out 2 weeks ago, we'd compare it to that. We could compare it to Jurassic Park, which is just still killing at the box office.
yes.
Superman made 56 million on its first Friday, which is roughly close to what his old domestic numbers, to what Fantastic Four did, and its second Friday had a drop to 16 million, but then it was right back up to 23 million on set. It just kept going back up, where it doesn't look like Fantastic Four is doing that. And if we look at Jurassic Park, which was the first blockbuster of the summer, and I actually really liked it. We had our talk about
Yes.
that. I enjoyed that. Made on its first Friday, it was Independence Day. It only made 26 million, but it had a couple of preview nights where they were at 30 million on the Wednesday, 25 million on Thursday, another 26 million on Friday, another 36 million that first. It made huge numbers.
Mm.
And even as far as August 1st on Friday, it still made over $2 million. And it's been out now for like 2 months, 3 months. And there's been 17 billion Dinosaur Park movies. So you would think there'd be just as much fatigue, because the last two were terrible for Jurassic World.
I think it's a combination of multiple things. I do think there's comic book fatigue. That's number one. I do think like the Jurassic Park films have a little bit more universal appeal. Kind of like you say, like a Batman and Superman kind of are above
Yeah, it's
that.
bigger than, I get it.
Yeah. But I think there's just a lot of fatigue. I think people are burnt out.
Yeah.
You got to remember too, like if you were, I guess this whole madness really kind of started. I'll say when Iron Man came out, because like you already had the Dark Knight trilogy was already popping off. They ended in 2012. So that thing ended, but that kind of gave, which we know that really gave the spark for everything else. It may come out 2008, 2009.
I think it was even earlier.
Oh,
but
wow.
it's around there, yeah.
Okay, but still, you're talking about 20 years, let's just say 20 years. Kids who are, they want to see something else now. Someone who started watching that when they were like 5.
Right.
They want to watch something else. I think they're just kind of burnt out. The story's over, bro. You know what I mean? It's over, man.
You're right, 2000. Yeah.
so these people just want to do something different now. I think it's just a lot of fatigue, man. I'm fatigued.
What happens to the next Avengers movie?
I think look, I don't know, but if I was a studio guy, I would say I think Doomsday has to be the last. And you give like a 2-3 year break, and then you reboot it. You need a break. You really need a break. And I know a studio.
They've already split that into 2 movies, so we already know there's an Avengers movie with the same cast after Doomsday.
Wait, I mean, there's Doomsday's part 1 too?
Well, it's going to be, there's going to be Avengers Doomsday, and then like a year or 2 later is Avengers Secret War, or whatever they're calling it.
Okay, and that's it. That's all they have so far,
Is it Secret War? I forget what they're calling it.
I think it's called Secret War. I think, yeah. I didn't realize there were... well, even with that, you got to end it, man. Because, like, look, I think, what's his name again? Tom Holland. He's hanging it up. It's time to move on. I mean, it's time to just... Because, I mean, like, that's another 2 years from now. I mean, it's time.
You're still doing it, yeah.
It's just...
Avengers Secret Wars is coming out, it says in 2027.
It's time to just end it. Give it like maybe like a 5-year break. Give it let it simmer. Let it simmer. You know what I mean? Let it simmer.
And supposedly after Secret Wars, Kevin Feige has said the timelines will be streamlined, and that's probably when they'll start focusing on the X-Men. But you're focusing on the X-Men. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're not going to wait 5 years for that. So it's going to come out the next year, year two, or 2 years later. It's just
Yeah.
going to continue to roll these movies out. And you wonder, like you said, about fatigue. We're in 2025 and we already know what's happening in 2029. They're paying Robert Downey Jr.
I
over
know.
$100 million to be Doctor Doom in Doomsday, which means that movie is going to cost, if it costs $25 million to make a Superman movie,
Mm-hmm.
and it costs roughly that to make a Fantastic Four movie, half of that now is just paying Robert Downey Jr. Your production budget is probably close to what, 300-400 million, maybe
I know.
more?
It's insane.
And these movies don't make that much money anymore.
That's why I think you really got to end it after this. And I just wrote down a note while you were, I looked it up, PJ, real quick. So when I said that 5-year gap, I'm right.
Yeah.
I'm right. Harry Potter, the films, 2000, the last one ended, right? 2011, right? The last one, at Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Yeah.
Guess when Fantastic Beasts came out?
I feel like it was like right before the pandemic.
So it came out 5 years later, 2016. Yeah. So they have
Okay.
a 5-year gap. So they had 5 years to celebrate those films, right? And they brought it back. And that franchise the Fantastic Beasts is horrendous. The first movie is fun.
First movie's great. The other two tanked because of other issues. But
other issues, but the story issues are even worse than the other issues.
Well, I think some of those story issues are a result of, but whatever, it tanked. Yeah. But then those ended, and now they're bringing that back as a TV show, and I don't know how that's going to go.
That I'm a little excited about because all those movies, which they did, I think, in my opinion, did a great job. Taking books that's several hundred pages long and turn into basically 2 hour, 2.5, 3 hour movie. They did a great job.
This can expand on a lot of it.
Those books. Yeah. So if you did this, 7 books, right? 7 years each, full season, each one an hour episode of one book. You can definitely do a lot of that.
You can get a lot out of it. Yeah.
Yeah. That.
I just hope they do it right. They don't.
No, I agree.
That's the thing.
Mm-hmm. But I do think there is comic book movie fatigue, and I think going back to you said, are people just what's going on with people in general? I think there's a big problem with the studios are suffering. I think all the music industry is suffering. There's people want to make money, and they don't know how to make it. Look at the television industry.
Yeah.
Whenever there's a TV show that's a hit, it doesn't come out to another 2 years later because after they make it, they don't know if it's going to be a hit or not. So actors or crew have no choice to sign on to another project because they don't know if they're going to. It's not like old television schedules used to be like, you put it out, okay, it came out. It's so done quickly that you don't even have a chance to really schedule.
Yeah, look at Wednesday, the Wednesday Addams show.
Yeah.
Had a huge first season where it was everywhere. But that was like, 3-4 years ago, I feel like. And now it's only starting up like this month, season 2. It's like, but I was just talking about this the other day. I'm not as even excited for Wednesday season 2 as I was because it took so long. I'm like, I'll watch it when I get around to it.
Yeah. Even Stranger Things, I'm like,
yeah.
I enjoy that series. I don't love that series. Even same thing. I did enjoy Squid Games. I didn't like how this last season ended. It was very disappointing. It's not unwatchable or anything, just very disappointing. But even that, obviously you had the pandemic, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, I think we're living in a really strange time for years now where people don't know what to do. Since COVID, people don't know how to.
That's true.
And it's too expensive to go to the theater. I'm sorry. Look, I can afford to go to the theater. Doesn't mean I want to spend my money on that. I go to this local theater up the block from me. It's only $10 to see a film. That should be the max amount of to see any film. I'm not even talking about buying popcorn. To see a movie should be $10. It's like $10.50. That's it. Nothing more than that. Once it's going past $15, $20, this is you're absolutely gonna
wait and watch it at home.
Yeah, there's no point. You just get tons of movies that are available on streaming for that
month. I do the AMCA list and I pay, I think it's like $30 a month, but I see at least 3, 4, 5 movies a month at a minimum. I could actually see up to like 5 movies a week or some shit without having to actually pay the ticket prices. But even if I only see 1 movie a week, $30 a month, it kind of pays for itself.
Yeah.
But to go to the movie, but that's only for someone who really likes movies like we do.
Right.
Some rando is not going to want to pay $30 a month and only to see 1 movie. It has become a very expensive night out.
Yeah, it's not even worth it. It's just a movie, man. It's just a movie.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, as much as I love movies, at the end of the day, it's just a movie. You know what I mean?
No, you're right.
PJ, before we end, I just was curious if you saw these trailers because you're the first person I thought of when I saw these
Okay.
trailers. There's two of them that cracked me up. The first one was The Conjuring, and it's called Conjuring Final Conjuring.
Right.
I don't know,
Yep.
whatever. It's the last one of the Annabelle
Yeah.
and the Nun. The reason why I laughed was because you and I talked about this. Are these movies actually scary, or is it so loud they do a jump scare? Like
I think that's what it
I
is.
jumped out of my seat because they show
Yeah.
like a doll review, and like I know someone laughed at me because the way I got scared. But I'm like, I want to be like, look, man, I'm not actually afraid of the film itself. That sound, Dolby
It's so
Digital,
loud.
like was like a
You're in a
shotgun going off.
Yeah, you're in like you could hear a pin drop in a movie theater, and they hit you with a that note. You're like, "What was that?" Yeah, it's not a scary movie.
That's anyway, but that I just thank God that's ending. And the other one though, this made me think of you and my brother was Avatar Fire and Ice or Fire and Sky, whatever
Oh,
it's
I
called.
hate it. I
Dude,
hate it so
I
much.
saw it. I said, "Oh, I was laughing out loud. I couldn't help it." James Cameron, man, like, yo, bro, you have too
Dude,
much talent. You gotta move on from it. Why are you so hung up on this? You gotta
on
move
this
on.
fucking Blue Cats, man. I saw that trailer, and I was like, I couldn't give a single shit. Now they have fire. First they were in the water or the sky. Now they're right now
Yeah,
they're in the fire, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. That one cat's like half human, kind of whatever.
yeah.
And you just like, I was looking for Jake Sully. Where was Jake Sully the whole time? Is that
I
his name?
mean,
I think that's his name.
yes, you're right. Yeah.
Like, yeah, and
The
I
reason
don't
why I
know.
laughed.
I just think it looks terrible.
The first Avatar was fun, and it should have just been a one-off. That didn't
Ugh.
need to be read. That second one made another $1 billion. I guess it's gonna make. That's the thing. Some of these movies, in general, whatever it is, they make a lot of money. Then they're completely forgettable. I can't
Yep.
even recall anything about the second one. It's really a waste of time. Honestly, it's a complete
This
waste.
is the same guy that made Terminator.
I know. True Lies. I mean, Titanic. All these iconic
What's
films.
happening with him?
But the part where I laughed out loud because, like, they're desperate because, like, the world was very cool, right? And they're trying to find
Yeah.
water, and anyway, they're basically in these hot air balloons that look like almost like they're inside of like a woman's uterus or something. It's just like that kind
Yeah.
of somewhat. They're getting pulled by looks like a stingray type of mutant looking thing, and I'm just like, what are we doing? Like, you gotta end this. Suppose there's gonna be 5 films.
Oh my god.
You gotta. I mean, like, and how many times you gotta fight like all the white settlers? I'm like, can we just have silver? I want to see blue people beating up the other blue Avatar people. I just want to see like just all out people. I want to see giants fighting other giants, and it just felt so.
I don't understand why he thinks this is the best franchise he's ever created. This guy. It looked, as I'm watching it, and I know that, and maybe it's just me because I know he keeps saying he has to wait for technology to catch up to him. It doesn't. Is it just me or did it look not that great? Like they look like blue cartoon characters to me.
It looks exactly the same from when the first came out, which I think is which is 2010 or something like that. I can't remember when the
Something.
first came out, but which is quite some time ago, 15 years ago.
First Avatar came out. Let's look it up because I feel like 2009 for the first
Whoa.
Avatar.
So, I mean, it's time to move on, bro.
So what technology hasn't caught up with them? They really don't look that much better.
Yeah, it's just. Anyway,
That
I
was-
saw that.
I
and
shook my head at that trailer too. I'm like, I can't believe.
I laughed, man. They gave me a good laugh.
I mean, what's next? We've done Earth, Wind, Fire, and Water. What's next? That's what they're doing. I mean, I give up with those movies too. Just stop.
Right?
Just
Oh, how about this
stop.
one? This one, I know we're going over overtime here, dude. I don't know. Did you see the new Predator Badlands trailer?
Yes, I did.
What I feel like, what are we doing, folks? Like, this is what we talked about before. Like, we used to have action movies that had some humor, like the first Predator, right? Look, stick around, pushing too many pencils. Like, there were some lighthearted moments, but the movie itself was taken very seriously. The new Badlands, it's basically a buddy cop movie. I like the idea of the Predator being the main character. That's cool. But I forgot the actress's name. It's not her fault. That's her job. And they got hired what to do. She's talking to Predator, like, giving him, like, see, told her that didn't work. Or, like, you think you can really beat up this kind of, whatever it was. It was just so cheesy. I'm like, oh.
It looked terrible. My problem with the Predator being the main character, if this Predator just starts to like talk.
Yeah, well, they're gonna have subtitles, or maybe,
Like,
well, you and I saw the what's the thing we watched, the cartoon?
the
What's it called?
cartoon Killer.
Oh, Killer of Killers. Yeah, I
Killer
know
of
that
Killers.
they give those collars that maybe they're gonna give him one. He's gonna speak
Can you
English. That
imagine if we have
PJ,
to?
that might be setting it up. That might be setting it up.
They added to that. They added like another animated thing
Yeah, I
supposedly,
heard. Yeah.
and I haven't watched it yet because I don't have it in me to sit through it again.
Oh,
But
my lord.
yeah, I don't know. Just give us something new. Give us something new. I don't know what's left. Did you see the trailer for the Odyssey? I saw the Odyssey trailer.
No. Wow.
Yeah, I watched
I
the
thought they were
Odyssey.
still filming that. I guess they wrapped it up. I guess.
I mean, it's just more of a teaser, I guess, than the whole thing. And that's not my favorite guy making that movie, but it looks good. I mean, I'm not gonna say it doesn't look good. It does. It looks fine. The problem I have with that movie is from the trailer is the cast. Did you see who's in it?
I know Anne Hathaway's in it, and
Everyone is in it. You go through the cast for that movie. I'm gonna just pull it up. Tom Holland, so
wow.
we have Spider-Man. Matt Damon,
Mm-hmm.
Robert Pattinson, so we have Batman.
Wow.
John Bernthal, so we have the Punisher.
Yep.
Zendaya, so we have
Wow.
MJ, Anne Hathaway, Elliot Page, Charlize Theron. I don't know who Maya Goth is. I don't know who Benny Safdie is. Hamish Patel, I know that name. It's just John Leguizamo, Ryan Hurst, Lupito Nyong'o. It's everyone. Everyone is in this movie. I always feel like when you have that many people in one movie, it just turns into a mess.
Tend to agree because you want to give all these people these screen time. I mean,
right.
Look, I'm a big fan of Christopher Nolan. I haven't
There's
seen
a lot of people.
That's a lot of, but there's someone who's going to be very judicious in how they edit. He's a guy who definitely into editing, that's for sure. Who knows? I'm curious though to see the trailer though. I gotta see.
Yeah, check out the trailer.
Mm.
It's look, these aren't small name people that are showing up in here where you can give them a minute.
Yeah,
it could be a cameo. You're just not gonna make Tom Holland a cameo.
Yeah.
You're not gonna make Matt Damon a part that only has 10 minutes in it. You're just not. And look, I like John Bernthal. I think he's a great Punisher. Every time he talks, I laugh. I don't know. It's his delivery. Yeah. It's always the same. Rick.
Right.
Like it's every time he sounds exactly the same. I don't know that that's the voice I expecting out of a character from the Odyssey.
Right.
But it is. It very much is. And this is a prequel of things to come when this comes out, because it's basically the cast of the new Spider-Man movie.
Wow.
Tom Holland, the Spider-Man. John Bernthal is going to be in Spider-Man.
Right. Zendaya
is going to be in Spider-Man. It's like, not only are these people always showing up in everyone's movies, they're all in the same movies together now. Like,
yeah,
they travel in packs.
I know. My only thing is, I'm happy to see just a new original story in the film in the theaters. You know what I mean? We need more movies like this. Maybe not in terms of subject matter, but in terms of just an original story, a one-off. Not going to be no sequel to Odyssey.
Right.
So we need more of that.
I mean, it looks good enough. I'll probably wind up seeing this one, but I just was like, the cast for this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
When I was watching it and people like show up and you're like, I gotta see who else is
It's like Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah, it really is. It's the same cast of Avengers Doomsday. They're all on it. It's just ridiculous amount of people. And I think Avengers Doomsday has potential to be a giant mess with the amount of people that are in it. I just don't understand why we need every movie star ever to be in every single movie. Let someone shine and let there be a supporting actor to do that. That's when a movie with this cast, how do you pick one person to be the star? I'm just wondering how you do it.
I think it's an ensemble. Obviously, I think it's just no one is a star, and they're just doing the best they can with the going on as a star. But I think it really goes down to story. I don't. Yeah. It's going to be interesting how it all
even
pans
with those
out.
Avengers movies, like, they're great. Iron Man's the star. It doesn't matter how you look at it. People can have a favorite Avenger, but it always kind of comes back to Robert Downey Jr. anchored all of those films. He really did. Who's upstaging Zendaya? Who's upstaging Anna? Nobody.
Who's going to be Ajax? Yeah, we got to figure it out.
I don't know. When I saw how many people were in it, I was like, wow, that's wild. That's going to be an expensive movie.
Yes.
You have to pay these people.
Yeah.
They're not taking a smaller cut because they're saying less lines. They're not going to say, all right, only pay me a little bit. I'll work for scale on this one. I'm only in a scene. They're not doing that.
Yeah.
How much money does this movie have to make to be successful? And every time these movies aren't successful, the next 2 years worth of movies from that studio suck because they don't have money left.
Right. I do think with just a Christopher Nolan film, he has all these stars that people are going to go out. It's going to at least make its money back. You know what I mean?
I hope.
So.
Is it gonna? I just hope it's not one of those movies that has to be $1 billion to be successful.
Yeah.
Because every time they make one of those movies where it's like, if it doesn't make $1 billion.
Christopher Nolan's actually known for actually making his movies come out under budget. He's actually very good with that. He's actually known for, he like prides himself on being under budget or at budget, and they finish. Yes, he's known for that. So
no, a lot of respect for what he can do with that. He's one of the only directors that you hear that about. Everyone else is like, movies keep getting delayed and they keep spending more money and they keep doing all these reshoots, and he doesn't have that problem. He's a solid filmmaker. I'm not. I don't say that about him. I would always say he's a very talented, solid filmmaker who makes very good movies. They're just not my cup of tea. But But
for the folks at home, definitely check out Fantastic Four. And hey, we'll see what Hollywood has coming up next in other films as well in box office. It's going to be interesting. Half the year is almost over, so we'll see how it ends.
Yeah.
Same time, same table, folks.
Have a good one.
Boys and girls, lunchtime is over. For more information, visit their website at coolkidslunchtable.podbean.com. Follow the boys on all social media platforms. Just search Cool Kids Lunch Table Podcast. Now get to class before you get detention.